property is going to drop 30%, 25%. Okay, where? Is that every property? The west of Sydney, the south of Adelaide, only Perth? Or does that only mean for houses, but townhouses are fine? There is jitters in the marketplace. You talk to local agents and they're seeing their opens, less people are jittery. So clearly there's this resonance around that is uncertain for a lot of people, right? But this is what I want to say to all the property couches, Ben, the people who have been devotees of our movement for some time. This is where you've invested in yourself. So this is where you get to be, not just Ben and Bryce. This is where our couches get to become the steady voice of reason here. They get to apply a lot of what we've been talking about, and don't get caught up in a lot of the hysteria that happens. Understand that headlines are just designed to grab attention, and they are going to always grab the most attention when there's a little bit of jitters around. So what we're experiencing in the last week, Ben, is nothing compared to that first week when the pandemic kicked off. That was uncertain, like on such a scale that everyone should be in the shadow of that going, I've been here before, I've done this, I've got to exercise a bit of calm here and just go back to the fundamentals that are really, really important. So I think that we want to remind our couches, because I said, look, we need to be the steady voice. So here's some principles for you to be the steady voice when you're having your conversations with your colleagues, your friends, your family during the week and on the weekends. Number one, we've said this right from day one, Ben, and we will say right until we continue to record this podcast, generalized commentary helps no one. So think about that. When you see a headline that says property is going to drop 30%, 25%, let's be conservative. Someone says it's going to drop 15%. The first question you need to say to yourself is, okay, where? Is that every property? Or is that just properties in the west of Sydney and not the south of Adelaide? Or is that only Perth, but nothing on the Eastern Standard timeline? Or does that only mean for houses, but townhouses are fine? We could go through a million of those what ifs, but the point is very, very clear that we are not one big market. We are markets within markets. And so therefore, how is it possible that generalized commentary at the headline level on a national television show that's being broadcast into a house in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, the western suburbs of Brisbane, and 2 hours later in every suburb of Perth, how is it that that story can speak to everyone across the market? It can't. So we need to be able to be very clear. The generalized commentary is all that they can give, but it doesn't help anyone because there is markets within markets. The second one for me, Ben, is residential property is the only investment market in the world not dominated by investors. It is a tangible asset that has utility far beyond the financial return. And for a lot of people, the utility is more important than the financial return. Now, on this podcast, we're always talking about the financial return associated with bricks and mortar. But for some people that do not give a rip, I've got a mate around the corner who does not want his house to go up, is not interested in the story that I have around property accumulation. All he wants to know is that his house is paid off, and the fact that it's going up in value is highly irritating and annoying to him because it means his rates are going up. So it isn't for everyone. They don't care about it continuing to go. So it is not dominated by investors, and so therefore people will buckle down. They will eat honky nuts and tomato sauce before they take the easy way out of losing their home. So there's important underlying foundational first principles that are important for us to discuss before you and I start riffing why we think there's a soft landing.
For me, it is just again about understanding those fundamentals that we've always talked about as well, and that is that we're here for the long term. First principle from our point of view is we are long-term hold investors. If the idea of buying a property when the market was moving healthily made good sense to you, why does that change now? Like if your fundamentals haven't changed in terms of the income that you're earning, your equity position, and you're thinking 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now, why would you stop executing on that fundamental belief? Like what has changed? I know what has changed, and that is the psychology and the mindset is I want to bargain. So people are going to say, well, I'm just going to wait until it bottoms out. I'm just going to wait till it bottoms out. we've from the start of this podcast back in 2015 have said, when is the best time to buy property? It's really simple. First principles are when you can comfortably afford it, and when it's part of your long-term strategy, as part of your investment goals, which basically dovetails, I should say, into your ultimate lifestyle by design story, right? So that to me is just really sensible, boring stuff. Now, it's okay to feel a little bit anxious. It's okay to sort of say, well, I'm a little bit uncertain, but go back to, that North Star principle of what you're trying to achieve. And if you're in a position to be able to do something, go ahead and do it.